Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. I'd like to give special thanks to my producer, Mr. Logan Landers, for making it happen today. If you like the video, please come in and share it. Today's video, we're going to highlight a young man whose career on the field now was special. But off the field, it didn't end in the right way, and the young man had problems. But today, here at 100 Yards Football, myself, Vincent Turner, is going to talk about the young man and his ability as a football player. Aaron Hernandez, formerly of the Florida Gators, formerly of the New England Patriots. The tight end position became a lot like a position that now people are really looking at seriously as one of the most valuable positions in the National Football League. And when you look at the players right now that's playing at a high level, you got to think about Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Mark Andrews, Dalton Schultz, Hayden Hurst. And all those guys have a combination of blocking, speed, and ability to be outstanding route runners. Well, when I was growing up and I was following the tight end position was just basically a block in the run game. I'm talking about back in the mid-'60s when you had John Mackey, Charlie Sanders, Dave Casper. Kellen Winslow was one of the first athletic tight ends to play at a high level. Todd Christensen, even though he caught a lot of passes for the Raiders, the athletic ability was just not there. When this young man came into the league in 2010, the position changed. And he came to a team, the New England Patriots, that had took a tight end in the second round who turned out to be a pretty good player in Rob Gronkowski before him. But I'm telling you, if Aaron Hernandez hadn't had the problems he had off the field, there's no question in my mind today here on 100 Yards Football, he would have been a Hall of Famer. At the tight end position, he was one of the greatest high school football players that ever put on the pads. I think a lot of people really don't know how special this young man was as a football player, simply because all the off-field issues he had and then his violent death in prison. But going back to his career at Bristol Central High School in Bristol, Connecticut, his senior year, 67 receptions, over 1,800 yards. Then on defense, the young man had 72 tackles, 12 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. He was voted Connecticut Football Player of the Year, both offense and defense, in 2007. A U.S. Army All-American in high school at the tender age of 16 years old. In a game in high school, he had 376 yards receiving from the high school position. This what really blows my mind about Aaron Hernandez. He averaged over 180 yards receiving. Outstanding football player, man. Voted the #1 tight end in the country. Then he was signed by the University of Florida. Went on, had a great career there. Went there as a 17-year-old freshman. True enough, I'm not going to make no excuses. He had problems in Gainesville. I'm not going to put that on blast today because here I'm talking about the young man's ability. But one game that sticks out to me, he didn't have great yards in the game, but he's an impact in the game. And I knew then he was going to be special. The 2009 BCS National Championship game against Oklahoma. He had 5 receptions for 57 yards, but it was the big key blocks in that game he had and the big receptions at the time of the game. Florida ended up winning that football game 24-14. Everybody talks about Tim Tebow, but make no mistake, Aaron Hernandez might have been the best player on the field. Then he goes to the New England Patriots. And I want people out there to think about this. When he got drafted in the 4th round in 2010, the reason they said he got drafted, of course, it was a lot of his off-field issues. There's no question about it. But when he left Florida his last year before he went in the league, this is when we should have known this young man had Hall of Fame quality, and he was going to change the tight end position. He had 68 receptions that year, 850 yards his last year at Florida, 5 touchdowns. He was all SEC, a consensus All-American at Florida. He left Florida with 111 receptions for 1,382 yards and 12 touchdowns. That was just only in 3 years. And he was splitting time with other people at the tight end position. But what really sticks in my mind, his 3 years in the National Football League. 3 years, he had 175 receptions, 1,956 yards, and 18 touchdowns after 3 years. What would have happened if the young man would have played, let's say, 13, 14 years in the National Football League? I'm telling you, we would have been putting him in the top list as the greatest tight end maybe that played in the National Football League. The young man's skill set, when I look at him as a tight end, initial quickness, A+. He was good at cover recognition, A+. Run after the catch, A+. His hands were solid, A+. The patterns that he can run, good as any receiver at that time in the league, A+. The separation as a tight end in the short areas in the slot, A+. Splitting the cover 2 down the middle of the seam against the defense, A+. Ball reactions, A+. Inline blocker, one of the best blocking tight ends ever played at any level, Mr. Hernandez. In his third down value, off the charts. If you need a third down cushion, Hernandez was that man. And then you talking about an athlete, man. You're talking about a serious athlete. Leading up to Florida's pro day, his junior year, and I see why he really excelled at that level. He did 30 reps of 225 on the bench. 30 reps of 225. And he ran a 4.5 at the Florida Pro Day. Let me go back over his NFL stats in his 3 years he played in the league. 175 receptions, 1,956 yards, and 18 touchdowns. And you know what? Based on all the problems he had on and off the field, some people say he was the hardest worker. That's what the great ones do. See, today, I'm not going to talk about Hernandez and his problems and what he did at Florida, what he did in high school, what he did with the New England Patriots. I'm going to talk about his ability. And his ability was Hall of Fame quality. His ability changed what a tight end position is at today. Well, you have to have a tight end that's athletic, that can create separation, and a guy that can get deep on your safeties. Hernandez was one of the best that ever done it in 3 years in the National Football League. We talk about special players, and it's just a shame that this young man had so many problems. But on the field, he was one of the best that ever done it. And he played at a high level at a time where he won a national championship with the Florida Gators, and he went to the Super Bowl with the New England Patriots. Outstanding football player, man. It's just a tragedy his life didn't go the right way that we want him to go. But I'm not going to take away the respect I have for him, because when I think about the tight end position, man, there's been some great ones that's played at the position. As I said, Charlie Sanders with the Detroit Lions, John Mackey with the Baltimore Colts, Dave Casper with the Oakland Raiders, Kevin Winslow with the San Diego Chargers, Todd Christensen with the Raiders, Keith Jackson with the Philadelphia Eagles, Shannon Sharp with the Denver Broncos, Tony Gonzalez, the Kansas City Chiefs, Antonio Gates with the San Diego Chargers, Jason Witten with the Dallas Cowboys, and Ryan Gronkowski, his draft mate with the New England Patriots. This young man on the screen, Aaron Hernandez, if he wouldn't have got in trouble, would have been in that level when we talk about the greatest tight ends that ever played in the National Football League. If you like the video today, please comment and share it. Special thanks to my producer today, Mr. Logan Landers. To the young man on the screen, outstanding football player at his highest level at the tight end position, Mr. Aaron Hernandez. We appreciate you here at 100 Yards of Football. And Vincent Turner, y'all be blessed.